Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I think this might be the final part. I'm betting this is the final part. But yeah. I was about to say subscribe, but enough with the shilling. Let's get back to the banging. Finishing the story. Maybe we shouldn't have gotten involved at all. I'm betting you I read that. I'm betting you right now. I think I've read that. Oh, what the hell? Cat here. Mail, get out of here, man. Juno was silent for a few moments, watching my little nervous breakdown with surprise. And I know I was just talking nonsense. In reality, I didn't really think that, but after what happened on... Oh god, here we go again. Wire? For which ultimately that bastard was still indirectly to blame, it felt like nothing was under our control. Like we'd never stop him, never win. Don't talk like that, just think about how many plants we've saved. And what happened on Wire with Lance, it wasn't our fault. I agree, it was the people. They were praying to the gods and they hope the other people die, and then, well, whoopsie doo, it killed everyone. How many times do I have to say it, Brizzy? Don't blame yourself, it's not our fault. I sighed, running my hand over my face. I know, Juno, I know, but it doesn't make it any easier. We need to plan something effective. Because eventually we have to meet that bastard face to face and put an end to this. You understand? The words caught in my throat and I went silent, turning away. Not hiding from Juno, just not wanting her to see my emotions. I was tired. It only now became clear I was damn tired of adventures, of being a hero, of trying to save everyone and learning over and over that you can't save everyone. Reminds me of like superheroes in general. Like, they can't be... It's like having super hearing. You can hear people getting murdered, whatever, yada yada yada. But you can only save one at a time, right? You can't just go out of your way and decide, hey, everyone, just stop. Unless you're like Batman, or what if Superman became like Batman? He's hunting people down. You know, Superman now kills people. Yeah, I won't do crime. But then again, Metropolis. Is it Metropolis? The city of Metropolis. Isn't it Metropolis? Am I mixing it together? I don't know. It's pretty safe other than the fact that most of the villains target Superman. But petty crooks, a bit less. I wouldn't say 100% zero. Compared to Gotham, where every corner and alleyway has someone ready to mug you. I'm tired of seeing death. I'm sick of it, Juno. I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. Juno came closer, hearing the weariness and helplessness in my voice. Her warm hand settled on my shoulders, tense like wood, and she pressed it. Oh, what the fuck? And she pressed against my back. I leaned back, closer to her warmth. I needed her support right now. The feeling that I wasn't alone in all this mess. I know, we're both tired, and yes, you're right. If we can't even utilize and master Archive, then maybe it's for the best. Yeah, but without it, we can't beat that bastard. He'll just kill us. That's it. I know, and that's why we need to go to the one who can wield it. The villain? What? Who is that? A faintly sad smile appeared on Juno's helmet, surprising me even more. Come on, I'll tell you everything, but let's get out of the training room. She headed for the door which slid open before her. Of course, I followed, intrigued and surprised. Are we gonna meet this mysterious person? We went to our bedroom. I sit on a comfortable, soft couch. Juno took a few seconds to gather her thoughts, then finally began. Remember I told you I was different from other Protogens? In truth, my brothers and sisters, well, so-called brothers and sisters, weren't really Protogens but more like copies or parodies of them. Oh, me and the others, including Senna, whom you've met, and Nova and Aura, were created by Protogen named Zoe. So that's what they meant that not being real Protogens. Which is why we never really fit into Protogen society or stayed on their planet. Many years ago, one of the Protogens, Zoe, decided she could fix some, let's say, features of the Protogen race. Specifically, the fact that they were basically like robots, genderless beings made of biomaterial. She wanted Protogens to be more like biological creatures. She traveled a lot, did expeditions, and spent a lot of time exploring the universe. She saw how other species lived, so that they could make real families, form relationships, fall in love, and all that mumbo-jumbo of living. Huh. I'm kidding. In short, they weren't like her own kind. Protogens don't make families, all their relationships are purely platonic, with no sex or kisses, no passion. It's more like a partnership that is built entirely on merit and utility. What is— oh, that's marriage. What are we talking about? That's just being married. And Zoe believed that in a way her kind lacked many of the joys of simple living beings. No, I think, yeah, that's still right up the alley, you know. So she decided to create protogens who would be more alive. She traveled to a remote galaxy in an unknown corner of the universe and started her experiments. Took her a lot of time, but eventually with her knowledge and also with Archive, she managed to create us. We were just as she wanted, alive, with living bodies, feelings, needs of living species, with other original protogens considered, on the contrary, to be defective. The original protos believed their own kind was the most ideal. They weren't as fragile as most biological species and not so prone to emotions. Being an original, real protogen is about logic, cold calculation, and intellect, not about romance, feelings, and all that. When Zoe created us, she expected to be able to join Protogen society and that they'd realize we weren't freaks, but worthy members of the race. But as I said, we weren't accepted. We were shunned and considered inferiors and outcasts. Zoe stayed with us for a while, taught us a lot, which wasn't hard with our Protogen brains, and we thought she'd help us. That she'd bring us to the Protogens, explain everything, support us. But one day she just disappeared. No one knew where she went. She didn't tell anyone where she was going. In the end, my brothers and sisters split into groups. Some wanted to stay on the planet where she created us and wait for her return. Some decided to go to the Protogen planet and do what Zoe wanted. Join society. Oh no, we live in a society. And some wanted to take a ship and go looking for her. So that's how we split up. Me and a few others decided to fulfill our creator's will and go to the Protogen homeworld of E1. As you already know, that did not end well. We realized we weren't wanted, would never be equals, and it was better just to leave. So I went to explore planets. I know a few of my sisters went to look for Zoe, but I don't know if they ever found her. Maybe they did and were disappointed. Or maybe they just gave up. Either way, they never told anyone what happened. Juno fell silent, and for a few minutes, I just processed what the heck was she saying, you know? She said a lot of lore drops are there, the origins. I knew Juno's origins and her upbringing were complicated. But she'd never told me about her creator before. It was clear that it wasn't easy for her to talk about. She never said her creator just left her and the others behind. So like God, oh, I'm kidding. God holding our hand. If we're following by the books from Bibles and other, you know, stories and whatnot, God decided to hold our hand, you know, guide us like children. Then decided maybe I'm gonna give you a little bit of independent. Oh, now they're committing war and yada yada yada. Oh my days. I'm gonna correct them. Punishment here, flood over there, storm over here, an earthquake over there, and a meteor. Now we're here. God said, okay, you know what? Maybe still no one learned. Alright. Maybe I need you to just let someone not godly, you know, not transcendent or some shit. Like, show humanity an example. Maybe they need another fellow human being. My son. And there we go. But I'm Catholic, so that's like more in line with me. You can have your own thing. Going back to the game, Juno snorted. Like, do I 100% believe that my religion is the only religion? Hell no. It's like trying to believe. I think the book that I just read is the only thing that's right. No other perspective can offer anything on the table or whatever, which is kind of a fucked up thing to think about. Going back to the thing, sort of, she was with us for a while, raised us, but obviously she wasn't much of a mother. You said she can use Arca. You mean? Yes, I was hoping we wouldn't have to do this. Hope we'd master the power ourselves, keep training, but I think you're right. Maybe we'll never manage, and maybe that's for the best. Such power is a huge responsibility. You want to find your mom? Are you sure you're ready? She's your creator, and then Juno be like, are you sure you're ready to meet my mom? You're gonna be like her son-in-law or whatever. Are you angry at her? Meow is gonna jump. Boom. You going down, Meow? You gonna pee? You gonna shit? You gonna piss? Okay, get out of here. Juno sighed and shrugged. She kind of smells like piss already. Did you already pee? Honestly, I don't know. For many years, I tried to figure it out, to accept it. Of course, I was angry at her, like many of us were. Why create us if she didn't know what to do with us? Are you sure you're ready to meet your mom now? Your creator, goddess mother. Oh my god, is that what's been being hinted at? But we don't have many options, do we? We need to stop that bastard. Okay, so it's no time to dwell on grudges. If she can help, we need to take that chance. There might not be another. Wait, but if so many looked for Zoe and couldn't find her, why do you think we can? So much time has passed and no one's seen her. Juno nodded. A cheeky smirk on her helmet. Yeah, no one's seen her since she left. At least I haven't heard otherwise. But when I left the Protogen planet set off on my own, I decided to return to the galaxy where our planet was and left a beacon there. For years it was sighted, but recently I noticed some activity. The beacon is tuned to the energy of a living being, in particular Archai. So you got a signal that someone returned there? She nodded. Exactly. Wait, what if it's not Zoe? What if it's the guy, the purple shirted bastard man, the purple shirted eye stabber? Only she knew about that place. That galaxy is called LT-18, translating from an ancient dialect, it means fabrication. So that galaxy isn't on any maps. Because it was literally made up, created artificially. If it's not on any maps, only someone who knows about it could return. Exactly, only we and Zoe know about it. So it's either your mom or your sisters. I think that... alright, it's fine. Or do you think she'll want to help? I don't know. I haven't spoken to her in many years. I barely remember what she's like. But if we explain everything, I think she won't refuse. After all, we're asking for a good cause. Alright, if you're sure we can find her, I'm in. You know, I'll follow you anywhere, babe. She smiled softly. Leaning forward, I put my hands on her shoulders and pulled her into a tight, warm embrace. I've already plotted the course. In a couple days, we'll reach ELT. All I could do was nod, because I really was ready to follow Juno anywhere. And besides, the realization that we wouldn't have to learn to use Archai ourselves came as a huge relief. Like her jugs. Oh, because deep down I did not believe we'd ever truly master it. Maybe there was a problem. Who knows, but I did not want to waste any more time trying. We'd already spent so much time and lost so many years chasing shadows, trying to save anyone we could. I wanted to end this once and for all, and without Archai, we had no flipping chance. No burger, no way, no fries on the side, okay? Now both of us had hope again, and I was ready to risk everything if it meant this would end soon. Alrighty then. I'm sorry if this is delayed. I've been doing other stuff. Procrastinating. I'm saying it right now. I don't want to lie to you, okay? I've been procrastinating. So, I'm currently recording this Sunday. Typhoon. Technically, internationally known as I don't know, it's a long ass name. So, yeah. The journey was brief. Soon Pixie announced that we were approaching the LT-18 galaxy. So, where do we start? I think we should first check the planet where we were created. That's where I left the beacon. Besides this planet, there are others in the galaxy, of course. Ouch. However, there is no intelligent life on any of them. We'll check what the beacon picked up, then follow the energy trail. It's been a short time, so it should still be traceable. Alright, let's head there. Juno took the helm, piloting the ship through the galaxy. Soon we approached one of the stars with 3 planets orbiting it. There it is. Home sweet Alabama. Planet 809, or as we call it, Amelia. Home. We began our approach. Soon the sensors started blinking blip, 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 as we entered orbit. The planet, through the jet window, shimmered in every shade of green and purple. We hadn't seen anything like it in a long time. It looked like paradise. This is your planet? Technically, yes. Perfect atmosphere. You'll be able to breathe there easily. Gravity is nearly the same as your planet. Warm temperatures, stable climate. Sounds like paradise. She smirked. Zoe didn't pick that by accident to create this. Her lab is still here. Let's go. Time to board the jet. I'm getting to go to my wife's home planet. Oh my days. A few minutes later, we were already inside the jet. And her, oh my goodness. Prep for landing was quick. The fastest I could remember, since there were no monsters, no hostile AIs, no other dangers waiting for us here. I agree. Should I take a rifle? Juno waved her hand. Leave it. No dangers here. Not even large animals. Babe, All right, I'll trust you. I'll trust you. You got that. You got that to the fucking grin. I'll trust you. Got that confidence. Oh, it's like my planet. It's purple. What the heck? Reminds me of how reminds me of Monster Girl Island. I've ever played it again for a different video. One related to YouTube. Actually, both related to YouTube. One large project for a video. The hatch opened, gently touched the ground, and we stepped outside surrounded by giant flowers. I'd never seen anything like them before. They were tall, almost as tall as Juno, and multicolored blue, red, yellow, and white. A sweet smell hit my nose, making it itch. Itch-io. Immediately, I took my first breath and instantly sneezed hard. Juno raised an eyebrow. You alright? Yeah, I'm fine. Just must be the pollen. These flowers have pollen, right? Even despite their size. Of course. Hope you won't be allergic to them. Me too. Don't worry, I took my first aid kit with me, so even if you are, it won't be a problem. That's true! And I sneezed again heartily. Be healthy. Bless you. Juno laughed and her voice blended to the sounds of the place. The forest breathing in a soft breeze. Green, almost aquamarine grass. These flowers. I couldn't help but inhale again. Lungs filling with a scent like a mix of something sweet and delicious. Anyway, let's get out of the meadow. Oh shit, I double thinking about it's not like this everywhere, right? Of course not. Let's go. We moved on, leaving a small path through the thick grass, a trail we could use to return. Soon we left the meadow and found ourselves at the edge of a tall, majestic forest. In the meadow! Oh wait, no, it's a ghetto. That's a song. In the ghetto! In the ghetto! The tree trunks stretched far up into the sky. It seemed they scratched the clouds, their canopies breathing in the wind, their leaves shimmering like butterfly wings. And it wasn't just a turn of phrase, they really shimmered. Is it supposed to look like this? She smiled again. It's called bioluminescence. Looks pretty, right? It's you know, where the body can emit light after absorbing sunlight. It's a crazy thing. Sure does. Damn beauty. Damn beautiful. And y'all wanted to leave this place? She let out a laugh. Well, no matter how pretty it is, you can't eat beauty. Spend a week here and you'll die of boredom. I don't know, I could live here forever. We'll come back once all this is over. Mark my words, in a week? Okay, a month. You'll be howling to get out. I'll be howling, alright? Oh, you nasty dog. I was about to object, but Juno suddenly grabbed my hand and blurted, Look, Brizzy! Her voice was softer, like she didn't want to scare something away. I turned to follow her gaze and saw a creature step into the clearing beside us. It was unlike anything I had ever seen, despite all our travels through the galaxy. It was definitely an animal. It was not big, barely waist high on me. It looked like a blend of flora and fauna, 6 thin legs ending in hooves, its body covered in pearly scales, 2 bright blue eyes and a small elongated snout, and its head crowned with horns made of twisted stems. What the heck is that? Juno grinned widely. We call them Kiki. Kinda sounds... a unique local species. Those are some strange horns, babe. Yeah, I know. Looks unusual, right? Unusual is the word, alright? Nature is a wild imagination. Never stops surprising me. I watched and mesmerized as the animal ignored us, catching floating pollen in the air with its mouth. More like Zoe has a wild imagination. My eyes widened in surprise. You mean... Yep, all the species you see here were made artificially. She artificially populated this planet and started as a practice, but then she got carried away. You know, if I were Protogen, I'd probably do the same. It's like Minecraft. You start out a small house, you get resources, and then you eventually finish all the main shit, and then you're like, oh, I want to upgrade my house, and then bam, you got a village, you got a farm, you got a fucking mansion, you got all this knickknacks and fucks. The Kiki lifted its head, its huge blue eyes reflected the sky, where snowy cotton-like clouds started gathering. Juno squeezed my hand, shifting impatiently from foot to foot. Watch, now comes the interesting part. At that moment, the whole forest seemed to breathe. The flowers opened, releasing golden pollen into the air. It slowly fell, dancing, turning the clearing into a living kaleidoscope. And then suddenly, music began. Or something very much like music. At first I couldn't tell what the sound was. It reminded me of dozens of tiny bells softly chiming in the breeze. The sounds merging the silence carried by the wind. I couldn't tell where the sound came from at first, but then I saw stones glowing blue and green, crystals growing from the soil. Their vibrations filled the air with a melody without beginning or end. This is strange and beautiful, right? Definitely, but more strange than beautiful. Strangely beautiful? She laughed and explained, that's how they communicate. Watch it. The animal began catching pollen in its horns as well as its pearly scales began to vibrate and shimmer in rainbow colors. You were right, Zoe sure knows how to surprise. What other crazy stuff did she make? Besides you, of course. The Rizzy. Sky is Rizzy. Juno smiled again and playfully poked my side. Well, several types of key. And a type of singing stones. And you know what? You'll see for yourself. Like I said, we'll come back here when the mission's over. I'll give you a tour. I nodded, still staring at the amazing creature. Come on, the lab's not far. Let's check if she's there. Juno gently pulled me by the wrist and we walked on, moving through the dense forest. Butterflies, looking more like double leaves, fluttered everywhere. The forest smelled sweet, probably from the pollen, and kept singing the whole time we walked to the lab. Soon we reached a large clearing with a coral-colored stream running through it. Zoe's idea too? Yup, the color comes from the stones lining the bottom. They tint the water. Wait, you might see a skilty. What's a skilty? These little fish, they look like a mix between a butterfly and a fish. So she likes butterflies then, I guess. It jumps out and catch pollen, so they're all more like veggie. They're like bees, I guess. Everything here eats pollen? Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, Zoe deliberately didn't create predators, so no species could destroy another. When they overpopulate, isn't that what predators are for? Well, they're artificially made. Zoe tweaked their DNA and disabled the breathing function. They can't breathe, so how do they fuck? Another experiment. Zoe made it so they can only mate when they want to, with individuals they find attractive. I got a cheeky smile, I'm saying. Juno tried to explain as clearly as possible, but I still could not hide my amazement. Like sentient beings. Something like that. When you see what they like, they feel something more like feelings than instinct. But they're not sentient. Right, we're the only sentient beings Zoe ever made, at least as far as I know. I looked at the stream in wonder, hoping to spot those butterfly fish, but did not get lucky. Juno tugged my wrist and we kept moving. So Zoe made herself a world and populated it, then left? She shrugged. Something like that. We're already independent when she left. Where did you live? What did you eat? How did you even... You'll see in a moment. Soon we reached a valley with a large building in the center. Moss and plants covered it, even a small tree grew on the roof. Tall panoramic windows reflected sunlight from the blue sky above. Not a bad place. This is where we live. The building goes deep underground. There's a lab and residential complex. Each of us had our own room, no idea when anyone last visited. We approached the complex and Juno placed her palm on a panel. The doors opened, a female automatic voice came from above. Welcome, Juno. Hi, Ter. That's assistant, an AI named Terali. I base Pixie on her code. Who's with you? This is my partner, Brizzy. Brizzy, say hello. Hello, Terali. Nice to meet you, Brizzy. Ter, has anyone from our group here lately, you know? No, not in a long time. I actually felt a little sorry for Terali. What did she do here all alone? Then again, she was an AI. She probably didn't need company or entertainment. Still, I never really got used to the idea that AIs were different from living beings. To me, they're alive too. Pixie especially. This is why I always say thank you with ChatGPT, man. If shit goes down, at least ChatGPT remembers, I know this, man. He at least told me thank you. Appreciated it, you know? And Zoe didn't come by? Juno's voice had something alive and vulnerable, as if she was afraid to hear the answer but tried to hide her feelings behind an indifferent tone. I cannot say. Oh, come on, Ter. Sorry, Juno, would you like to rest? Something to drink? No thanks, traitor. Juno grabbed my hand and pulled me out of the complex. Hey, what's wrong? She knows Zoe was here and she won't say. Isn't that in her programming? So what? We're not strangers to her. Juno realized how silly her words were. If anyone, she should know how AIs work and sighed. Whatever. Let's find the trail and follow it. Are you sure Zoe isn't here? Maybe we should look around. I'm sure if she was, we'd have known right away. How? She smirked. I think she just wouldn't have let us into the complex. She would have come out to see who I brought. That made sense. In the end, Juno and I continued wandering the planet for a while until we finally found a small mountain where Juno had left her beacon. Yep, just as I said, Zoe visited here a few days ago. That trade is still fresh. Let's go. We're leaving already. Disappointment crept into my voice. I promise, we'll come back when it's all over. I sighed knowing we really did not have time to waste, but still I hated leaving this planet. It was small, cozy, and smelled so nice. I just wanted to stay here forever. Live quietly by the coral-colored stream and watch butterfly fish. But we had a job to do, and we couldn't wait. Juno called the jet and we flew on. By the time we returned to the ship, rainbow clouds had already painted the horizon violet. My god, this is Wacky Town. Out the porthole was nothing but the dance of rainbow twilight, the planet's final gift, one I hope to see again soon. Maybe this is what I'd been searching for. Maybe. Baby. Lemmy. Getty. Our next stop was a planet just a few hours from Amelia, planet 204. I stared out the window with the curiosity of a child. For the first time in ages, we were getting a sort of vacation. Just traveling. With no thought that danger could be lurking at any moment, no fear of sudden death. I like traveling like this. Is this a place? Do you think Zoe's here? She was here recently, at least. Juno bent over the control panel. God damn, look at that rack! Her helmet showed me a very concentrated expression. What's interesting about this place? Did she create it? I don't know, maybe Zoe did? No signs of civilization on the scanners, and the atmosphere is suitable. Thanks, Pixie. Meow, are you scratching my freaking chair? Yes, she is, man. Okay, thanks, Pixie. Good thing this chair has been like with me for 7-ish years. About to go 8, baby. I looked at Juno, who seemed unusually focused on landing, something Pixie could have easily managed. Nervous? Juno immediately straightened, her face going blank. As if, why would I be nervous? We're here for business, nothing more. I smiled gently. You say so, babe. Triple alt tapping. Yes, it's recording. You know how I'd be really sad if it wasn't. I'm not nervous at all. Okay, no problem. Calm down, wife. Juno was about to say something else. I could see it. Even through the lack of emotion on her helmet, but at the last second changed her mind. I did not push, did not try to pressure her. She'd tell me when she was ready. We can land now. Always ready. We transferred to the jet and descended to the planet. Oh, it's like a valley desert planet. It touched down smoothly, and when the hatch opened, we were greeted by pink sand stretching to the horizon. An endless desert. Sandy hills and far in the distance against the sky, small reddish stone outcroppings. Wow! I stepped into the ground cautiously. The sand was warm but not burning, and slightly springy underfoot. I've never been here before. Beautiful, isn't it? What kind of sand is this? Juno bent down and scanned the sand. I'm scanning something, alright. Tiny grains of special minerals that colored the sand pink. Nothing dangerous. What about the trail? Juno set up the radar. This way. We moved forward across the endless pink plain. The sun here glowed softly with a golden orange hue, and a light breeze carried a sweet scent. Fresh, not hot or cold, but very empty. Is there life here? Probably some microflora, since the atmosphere is like this. But no intelligent life, apparently. We walked on until we reached the spot indicated by the radar, but it was empty. No sign of Zoe or anyone else. Damn, looks like she went on. Was she here long ago? Not long. The trade is getting stronger, clearer. She's already closer. There was a vulnerable note in Juno's voice again, but I didn't dwell on it. I wanted her to speak when she was ready. We headed back across the desert to the jet. Yeah, I said it correctly. Suddenly, Juno stopped sharply. Brizzy, look! She pointed ahead. Among the pink dunes, something was gleaming. We got closer and saw a lake. So it's not a mirage. But not just a lake. Its surface shimmered with every shade of blue and violet, like someone had poured liquid cosmos into it. Is that water? I crouched, touching the surface carefully. The liquid was thicker than water, a little syrupy in my fingers. Juno took out her portable scanner. I don't think so. No, definitely not water. Complex composition, organic compounds, but nothing dangerous for us. So we can swim in it. Are you kidding? I'm not going in there. I was about to say I'm not going in there as well, man. But it's syrupy. Wouldn't you drown? I'm just saying, what if there's something in there, man? I laughed, not that I was going to swim either. Anyway, we need to head back. No time to waste. Huh, we won't even try to find giant pink worms here. As I said, there's not much fauna here for it to eat, and I didn't detect any seismic activity. But I know a planet with giant worms if you're interested. Will you show it to me? Maybe later. They have an ongoing war there now. My Arrakis. My Dune. The Emperor. Okay, then let's leave. House Atreides! I'm sorry, it was a Dune reference. The jet arrived, and after getting in and departing from the surface in a few minutes, Pixie brought us aboard. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, there we go. Back on the ship, we stopped at the control panel, heading after the trail to a new planet. What's this new planet about? What about? Oh my god, it's Mount Doom. Our next stop was planet 427. According to our data, the planet was practically uninhabited with a thin but breathable atmosphere. No signs of intelligent life, but there were storms. Gone were endless deserts or lush meadows. Here, only infinite rocks and stony hills. Only dwarves would love this place. The stones were more of a dark violet color, covered with a barely visible layer of fine dust, more like salt, and the sky was a reddish hue. We must be careful, storms are quite common here. Juno pointed upward at the clouds racing our way. I hope the rain isn't acidic or something. No, if it was, Pixie would have warned us. But the rocks are covered with a protective layer. It has organic components. We moved forward through the stony valley. Small stones crunched underfoot, and there was no one around. The storm was coming fast, but still far off. Brizzy, look, they're glowing. What's glowing? Juno pointed at the clouds, which were flickering with violet lightning. Oh, on my planet, storms would glow too. But it's beautiful, isn't it? I couldn't disagree. Honestly, every planet in this galaxy was beautiful and unique in its own way. No matter how much we'd seen through our years of traveling, I was always amazed at how different the planets could be. No two were alike. There was no other planet like Wire and none like my own. Let's just make sure we don't get struck by lightning. The cliffs were getting closer. We're talking about her cliffs? Oh my days! According to the radar, the train is pretty close. She spent some time here not that long ago. Do you think she's working on another experiment? She shrugged, looking totally indifferent. Maybe. Maybe she even made new children for herself. Only Holy Mother knows what's on her mind. I could hear the obvious pain in her voice. Whenever Zoe came up, Juno became like a hurt, abandoned child, which in a way she was. Would you want to meet them if that was true? No thanks. Now let's go. Again, I did not push. With every new planet where Zoe wasn't, Juno was getting more and more tense. I felt like she was about to explode. We'd been walking for about half an hour and soon reached a canyon. It cut through the stone valley like a giant scar, hundreds of meters deep. The walls were layered, streaked with minerals sparkling in the sunlight. The trail leads down there. There aren't any gases or anything, right? My sensors aren't picking up anything. I think it's just a canyon. What would Zoe be doing on this planet? There's literally nothing here. She shrugged. Maybe she just came to watch the storm. I snorted and stepped closer to the edge, trying to look down. Well, it looks like there's no one here. At that moment, the ground beneath my foot shook. Brizzy! I jumped back just in time as the canyon edge collapsed with a dull rumble. A cloud of dust rose into the air. Oh shit. I backed away, feeling my heart pounding in my throat. Juno grabbed my hand. Let's get out of here. There's nothing and no one here anyway. Good idea. Though I'd like to look at the storm if possible. As I said, not now, Brizzy, not now. Yes, I know. Mission first and everything else. It's kind of funny. They're quite alike. If Brizzy's the one like, if the main character is the one like being mad and agitated, Juno's the anchor, the one who calms him down, and vice versa. It took a bit longer to reach the next planet than the others. It was called just Planet 11 and lay in the habitable zone of a dwarf star. Juno was getting more and more nervous, and I could not help but notice. The way she fell into silence, lost in thought. The way her foot would sometimes tap an impatient rhythm on the floor as we approach our next stop. Relax, I think we're almost there. I am relaxed! Okay, judging by how heatedly she protested such a simple remark, it was clear she was not relaxed at all. Got it, whatever you say. Juno, she sighed and went back to the control panel. Soon we boarded the jet and set off for Planet 11. Something red came into view below. A vast expanse that I first mistook for a field of flowers. Mario Land, boom Disney, boom copyright, boom getting sued. But as soon as the jet doors opened to let us out, it was clear these weren't quite flowers. In fact, they weren't flowers at all. It's so hot here. Not hot, more like the atmosphere is dirty. The moment I stepped out of the jet, sweat broke out on my forehead. The planet's atmosphere was thick, humid, with a sweetish undertone. The air clung to my skin like warm syrup. Oh, so you're in the Philippines, huh? In front of us stood a scarlet forest, not of trees or anything like them, but... What the frick is Meow? Meow, come up here. What is this thing? Juno checked her scanner. Mushrooms. Those are mushrooms. Alright, come here. I gotta lift her up. That doesn't mean she can't just climb up. I look at the giant mushroom trees. Thick vines as big as my arm. Pulse with a faint light winding among them. Or is it winding? Why are they so huge? Because the environment here is favorable for them. Besides, there's no other fauna. Only mushrooms are things that can be possessed by mushrooms live here. Are they dangerous? She shrugged. These things are called singing polypores. Generally not dangerous, but you'd better not touch anything. They're not poisonous or Pixie would have warned you to stay away. I snorted. Got it. Hands off. So what could Zoe have been doing here? No idea. Hope I'll get to ask her. We went deeper into the thicket, off on another search. This place was damn strange. No sound of birds, not a single rustle of anything alive except the endless fungal forest and those strange noises they made. Breathing wasn't easy either, not because the atmosphere did not allow it, but because the air was so thick and humid, saturated with billions of invisible spores. Every breath left a taste of old copper and fermented syrup on my tongue, and every step forward came with a wet squelch on the crimson soil. As if I were walking on a giant lung of a living creature. We walked in silence, taking in the world around us. The landscape was surreal. In a way, it was even fascinating. Ribbed stalks as thick as giant trees rose upward, caps like large roofs intertwined into a solid dome, through which the local sun's diffused light trickled down. This light refracted in drops of sticky mucus covering the mushrooms, creating the illusion that the entire forest was lit by a ruby sun. Though the sun itself was ordinary yellow. Are you sure these are just mushrooms? She shrugged. Well, yeah, why? I approached one of the trunks. Upon closer inspection, I saw that the pores in the mushroom flesh pulsed rhythmically, releasing puffs of reddish pollen into the air. These bursts happened in sync throughout the forest, giving the impression that the whole planet breathed as a single giant lung. I don't know, it just looks strange, babe. The longer we walked, the more I breathed this thick, saturated air, the stranger the world around me seemed. Or so it seemed to me. At some point, I began to feel like something was watching us from behind the mushroom stalks. In the distance, a lake shimmered. Its surface was the color of baked blood and was covered with a rainbow film. Oh, it's a blood lake from SCP Russia. Sometimes it bubbled up and released droplets that, against all laws of physics, did not fall. Instead, they slowly rose to the mushroom canopy. Each drop upon reaching the caps was absorbed in the flesh with a barely audible squelch. The strangest thing was the sound. The forest produced a constant hum, something between the sound of ocean waves and the creak of old floorboards. This sound merged into a sort of melody, mournful and at the same time mesmerizing. Sometimes it seemed like fragments of speech slip into this hum, but whenever I tried to listen, the phantom words vanished, leaving only an unpleasant itching feeling of paranoia inside. Every now and then I noticed the tops of the mushrooms slowly swaying the air, though there was no wind, just damp heat. The caps turned and following our movements as if watching, and it made me even more uneasy. I don't like it here. Are you sure Zoe's here? Maybe we should just leave. It's unlikely she stayed long. Let's check the spot the radar points to, then we can go back. Are you really okay? Yeah, totally fine. At that moment, I stepped on some strange thing, a small crimson mushroom, which scratched under my foot and burst like a bubble, releasing a dense plume of crimson pollen into the air. The pollen quickly reached my nose and I sneezed hard. Tch! Damn it! What did you step on? Juno came closer, inspecting the remains of the mushroom under my foot. No idea what that thing's called. I thought I stepped on something alive. Well, in a way you did. She grinned, seeing my disgruntled expression. Come on, let's go. The faster we check, the sooner we're done. I didn't like this at all. But not in a bad way. It was a weird feeling. I couldn't shake the growing paranoia that something was following us, but every time I looked back, there was no one. The first signs that something was wrong appeared about 10 minutes later. At first, I thought it was just fatigue. My head felt heavy, temples pounding. Then I noticed my fingers were glowing slightly. Juno? What? She turned and I saw shimmering with a strange pearly tint behind her, just like the caps of these giant mushrooms. Do you see this? See what? I stared intently in my hands for several minutes. No, nothing. Must have imagined it. I don't know why I lied. First, it still felt like I was just imagining things, and second, something inside me just wouldn't let me admit something was wrong. What did you think you saw? I shook my head. Nothing, let's go, I don't want to linger here. But it definitely wasn't nothing, because after just a few steps, I heard a whisper from above. Looking up, I saw the caps of the trees looking at me with huge eyes, real eyes like mine, and whispering to each other. What are you doing here? I gawked at them, eyes almost popping out, frozen in place. What? You? Yeah, you? What are you doing here? This is our planet, get out! I was so stunned that the damn mushroom was talking to me. I couldn't even move. First, it was insane. Second, my critical thinking had literally shut down. And at that moment, I couldn't even put two and two together. I just stared back at the mushroom. Brizzy? I turned around, but Juno was nowhere nearby. Wait, what the fuck? I turned around, but Juno was nowhere nearby. Only fog thickening around me. A crimson fog like the pollen from that weird mushroom. Juno? Juno, where are you? I'm here, Brizzy. What's wrong with you? Whipping around because her voice sounded somewhere behind me, I suddenly saw one of the mushrooms rising from the ground looking at me with huge eyes. It grew arms and legs and furious charged at me. Damn it, Juno, run! Run! Brizzy, what's wrong with you? Hey, where are you going? But I was already running because I couldn't do anything else. My whole body seemed to be acting on its own. My legs carried me away and everything around me shimmered and flashed like a kaleidoscope. I had no idea where I was running until I finally burst into a clearing. Someone was sitting in the clearing. From the back, I recognized Juno, her hair, her figure. Coming closer, I immediately grabbed her shoulder. Juno, we need to get out of here. Something really weird is going on. Juno turned and she was exactly as I'd seen her a few minutes ago, except she was suddenly naked. Not a stitch of clothing, her beautiful hot body in full view. Juno? Brizzy, where did you run off to? We were starting to worry. We? At that moment, someone else's hand landed on my shoulders. Holy shit! Man took that puff of mushrooms and he got high. Brizzy! Brizzy! Juno's voice slowly but surely broke through the haze in my ears. Oh, someone's like moving. At last, I opened my eyes, my mouth dry, and found myself in the jet. How the hell did I end up back in the jet? We were just walking through that mushroom planet. Juno, what the? Finally, my vision focused and I saw Juno's worried face just a few centimeters above mine. Are you okay? Can you hear me, Brizzy? I hear ya. Stop yelling. I sat up. It felt exactly like after that fiery liquor Juno and I bought at the last station decided to taste one boring evening. Sitting up, I realized I was in bed and no longer in the jet, but on the ship. What the hell happened? She smirked and helped me sit up straighter, holding my shoulder with one hand. Spores! They were in the air. Turns out that mushroom we stepped on is called a laughing polypore. It's called laughing because it's hallucinogenic. Shit, my head's splitting. Not surprising. After its effect comes a hangover. On some planets, it's used as a drug. It's quite rare, expensive, and generally harmless. Except for the hallucinations, of course. I barely remember anything. I remember walking through the forest and then I met 3 naked hers and we banged. I didn't say this part, someone felt embarrassing, and even though it was just hallucination, and anyway it was Juno. Still, I did not want to talk about it. I tried to ask, but my tongue was thick and sluggish. You didn't? She shook her head. No, I'm not susceptible to it. What did you see? My face flushed involuntarily. I saw all sorts of things. I saw those giant mushrooms suddenly grow eyes and start yelling at me to get out. Then they got up and chased us. She, not even trying to hide her amusement, burst out laughing. Her laughter made my head throb even worse. Ouch. She forced herself to quiet down. Sorry, it's just... She couldn't help herself and snorted with laughter again. Hey, I didn't know what was happening. It was like some crazy nightmare. Yeah, I noticed. What? Well, you started getting paranoid at some point, then looked at me like I'd grown 3 heads. Then you yelled and ran off in some random direction, and it took me about an hour to find you. Unable to help it, I blushed even harder. Do you remember anything at all? I shook my head, lying on purpose. Not really. I don't remember how we got to the ship. Yeah, because I dragged you back here and gave you the antidote. You were raving and talking nonsense. Still feeling like crap, I collapsed back into the bed. My head was pounding and my mouth was still dry as hell. She sat down next to me, cross-legged, and smiled. Did you find Zoe? No, she wasn't there, so we're heading to the next planet. I promise, no hallucinogenic aphrodisiac mushrooms there. Supposedly. My eyes shot open? What do you mean aphrodisiac? What are you talking about? She grinned with clear satisfaction as if she'd been given a whole galaxy. Well, when I found you were lying in the clearing with a hard on, moaning my name. At first I thought you were in trouble, but as it turned out, you were having a very good time. I covered my face with my hands, hoping to hide my red embarrassment. Kill me. Please. Have mercy. She laughed again. Not a chance. It was way too funny. And you still owe me an explanation about what you saw there. Never, not in a million years. Oh, come on, I'm curious. No, Juno, don't even ask. The ship kept sailing through the perfect darkness of space during its transit for the next planet, and I swore to myself that next time, even if the planet was safe and had a breathable atmosphere, I definitely wouldn't leave the jet without a spacesuit so that this would not happen again. Next planet may be... Ooh, the ship touched down with a barely audible whisper as if landing on a bed of feathers. When the airlock opened, a rush of air hit my face. Clean, cool, filled with scents that tugged at the heart. Before us spread a meadow, covered in grass of an incredible emerald hue. Every blade seemed to glow from within, sparkling in the sun with millions of tiny dewdrops. The grass rose nearly to my knees, swaying in soft waves as if breathing in time with an invisible breeze. Juno took a few steps forward, and suddenly the meadow came alive. Hundreds of tiny creatures shot up from the grass, butterfly-like, with wings that shimmered in the sunlight. It was beautiful. Damn beautiful. Suddenly, Juno stopped, frozen in place, staring at her scanner. Is everything okay? Brizzy, she's here! There was real unmasked panic in Juno's voice. I raised an eyebrow, stepping closer. Are you sure? Yes, the train is fresh. She's here right now. I smiled, trying to lighten the mood. Well, that's great. Let's go find her. Let's go find her. Finally talk. I took her hand and pulled her forward, toward where the radar pointed, but Juno wouldn't budge. She stood rooted to the spot as if nothing in the world could move her. Hey, what's wrong? I'm scared, Brizzy. What if she doesn't want to see me? What if... Juno, hey, look at me. I caught her gaze. She looked like she was about to cry, so I did everything I could to comfort her, placing my hands on her shoulder, gently rubbing the tense muscles. It'll be alright. She's a creator, your mother, I guess. Why wouldn't she want to see you? Because she left, Brizzy. She abandoned us. All of us, and left no way to find her. Now we found her. She hid for so many years, maybe she wanted you to find her. I doubt she'd have missed the tracker name. Wow, she's pulling a fucking Jing Freaks over here, you know, in Hunter x Hunter. Gone, my son. If you want to find me, you first have to be a hunter. You have to go to this and shit and play this fucking game and find either me or might find Kai. Don't worry, she'll talk to you, she'll listen. And I'm sure she'll help. Juno let out a shaky breath, her fingers trembling slightly. I'm afraid to see her, afraid that... Shh, calm down. Remember, we have a mission, right? And we need her help. Everything else can wait, so focus on the task. After a few moments, Juno finally nodded. She clenched her fist as if preparing for a fight. Ready? Yes, let's go. We headed forward toward where the beacon pointed. The last 10 minutes across the massive green meadow felt like an eternity. I didn't know if the field would ever end. It was more like a step or a steep, until suddenly a tree appeared on the horizon. It was a huge tree, standing alone. Yggdrasil. Or another term for that, there's a world tree and there's another tree. the epoch tree. Like, its canopy soared high above, its massive, thick branches draped in moss and green leaves, countless leaves. Juno hesitated for just a moment, but I squeezed her hand tighter, and at last we reached the tree. Beneath it slept Zoe. Or rather, not slept, but dozed, lying on her back, one leg crossed over the other, her ankles swinging in the air. One arm tucked comfortably under her head, the other lying still beside her. Zoe resembled Juno, but was bigger and without a living body. She didn't even seem to notice us as we approached, even though we hadn't tried to be quiet. Oh, I want to see this model right now, man. Juno stood frozen for a few moments, staring at her, a strange reunion of child and creator after so many years, but then finally cleared her throat. Zoe? In response, only silence. Zoe, wake up, we've come a long way, we need your help, Who's mumbling by my ear? Kinda looks like the other guy. Art. I raised my eyebrows in surprise. Juno fell silent for a moment, staring at Zoe, and then standing just a step away, I could almost feel it, a fire kindling inside her. It's Juno, NV-0903 if you remember that one. At last, yellow eyes appeared on Zoe's helmet. She squinted, looking us over with indifference. I vaguely recall something like that. Juno initially scared, reluctant, felt, this is so cute and fucked up. Felt like she was about to explode, and now had to exercise restraint. Could you please get up and listen? We have something important to discuss. I didn't come here for a heart-to-heart, but no business is important enough to interrupt my afternoon nap. Not even meeting my own creation. Zoe obviously wasn't even trying to be nice. She didn't care what was happening, and it pissed off not only Juno, but was starting to get on my nerves too. How dare she talk to my woman, so indifferently to Juno after abandoning her and her siblings. Did Zoe have no sense of guilt? Is this some kind of god thing? If you meet your creator and you're like, what the fuck, man? Or it? Is that it? You left us a little bit, shit happens, didn't come back. Yeah. But I forced myself to stay silent. This was not my conversation, but Juno's. Suddenly, Zoe glanced at me. And what's this monkey supposed to be? Stop it, we came here on serious business. While you're lounging around, there's a lunatic out there destroying planets and feeding on their archive. We need your help to stop him or else. Zoe did not give a fucking flip. No. Juno fell fuck me. Well, yeah, of course. You're like, not really my problem. Zoe looks like she's on vacation, or it's on vacation. Look at that. She got that fucking Hawaiian t-shirt, whatever. Her helmet went dark, expressing nothing at all. What? You heard me? I said no, I'm not going to help. Juno was choking on indignation, hurt, and anger, so much that it took her a moment to find words. How could you? How could you even say that? Innocent beings are dying, entire planets, and you... Planets die all the time in this universe, civilizations vanish every minute, and new ones take their place. So why should I lift a finger for some natives? If the intergalactic council isn't handling your villain, then it means that no one really cares about what he's doing. For several moments, Juno was just silent. She looked really... What the flip was that? She looked ready to lunge at Zoe, her own creator, and technically her mother, at any second. Juno took a deep breath, her outrage and anger practically crackling in the air, one spark away from catching a fire. And finally, she snapped. How dare you! Greta Thunderbird. How dare you say that to my face after everything you've done? All this time you sat here doing nothing while we risked our lives to save others? We went so far trying to find you, you who abandoned me and the rest who just forgot about us. And for what? So you could spit your cynicism at me? You betrayed your own, you betrayed us, and now you just sit there wasting your potential. Your power means nothing, it's useless as long as you do nothing. How can you even... Juno did not finish her angry speech. Zoe decided she had enough, then waved her hand, sending a quick beam of violet energy at her. Juno's helmet immediately shut down, she collapsed into the green grass. I rushed to Juno in panic, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it would burst from my chest. What did you do? I realized right away was archive, but compared to the energy I'd felt 2 years ago from that hooded bastard, compared to what happened when wired, his power felt different. Like a gentle summer breeze, not an icy hurricane destroying everything in its path. Relax, she's fine, she's just asleep! Why do you have to put her to sleep? And I don't know about you, but I was in the mood to keep listening to her meltdown. Zoe stood up, brushing off the green grass clinging to her. You know she has reasons for her meltdowns, pretty big ones. Yeah, I've heard. So what did you say your name was? I let go of Juno and stood, crossing my arms. I didn't. Zoe rolled her eyes. Well, tell me then. Brizzy. Alright. Come on, Brizzy, let's take a walk. I frowned, looking at her with clear distrust and disapproval. Of course, I didn't feel like being friendly with someone who treated my beloved this way, but at the same time, I understood. We still needed this hoe. And maybe, just maybe, I could convince her to help. And then I left Juno under the huge tree in the shade from its thick canopy shielding her from the warm sun and followed Zoe. So, Brizzy, where are you from? From planet 2-9913. I think, yeah, I have a rough idea where that is. So how exactly did you meet my Juno? She spoke as if I were a suitor meeting the bride's mother. Well, technically that's what this was, yeah, that's true. If you didn't count the fact that this mother had abandoned her daughters years ago and never checked up on her or her siblings. Well, she was studying my planet and we met by accident. How cute. And then what? I snorted, not the least bit amused. Then my planet was hit by a virus from the anomaly and ripped it to pieces. Before that, my whole species and everyone that I cared for had wasted away and died, along with every other life form of the planet. So, Zoe shot me with a brief glance, easily hearing the sarcasm in her voice, because that's exactly what she was just talking about, wasn't it? That everywhere all the time someone is dying, so what's the difference? Just like my planet, my people. And she didn't care at all. Cause there have been a lot. I think this is the problem. Live 100 years, 1,000, 1,000,000, and you've seen it all. You slowly just not care anymore. It's like, it's not being desensitized. Desensitized is like you're used to seeing things, but it's not like you're not gonna do anything about it. You're gonna do something about it. This is more like I literally don't give a shit. I just want to do whatever I want. Help people? Why? What's the reason? What am I getting out of this? And Juno, I assume, decided to save you. Yeah, she took me with me. Yeah, she took me with her. And we decided to find whoever's responsible and stop them. And save whoever else we can along the way. She, arms crossed behind her back, showed no emotion, no regret, not even fake sympathy. So you had nothing better to do and decided to risk your necks for specks in the vast cosmos. A fire of indignation flared my chest. My planet was a speck in the vast cosmos too, you know. But real people lived there, people with feelings, families, plans for life, dreams of seeing their children, but you don't care, do you? She rolled her eyes. So dramatic. No wonder she took up with you. You are really two of a kind. She didn't take up with me. We found each other by chance, and she became my purpose in life, I could say. And I gave her the family she never had. I shot a very pointed and hostile glare at Zoe. Oh, Breezy, stop being so dramatic, honey. Dramatic? You abandoned your own children. Created them, then just left. What were they supposed to do? And what did you expect me to do? Stay and cuddle them? I opened my mouth to argue, but Zoe cut me off with a wave of her hand. We hadn't noticed, I'm a bit different from Juno and the rest. They were meant to be individuals and not rely on their curator. I did them a big favor by leaving. If you've lived on a planet with flora and fauna, you should know how important it is for many birds to push their chicks out of the nest in time. Otherwise, they'll never learn to fly. Could have at least kept in touch. Why? Believe me, Brizzy, I was never needed. Maybe I created them, but I'm not the best mother. Not least because my kind doesn't even have that concept. Besides, I have many enemies and didn't want to expose my young creation to that risk. I sighed, realizing that arguing was pointless. In general, I understood Zoe's perspective a bit more, and the anger I'd felt just minutes before started to fade. Okay, fine, let's say so. Why not just tell them? Because we're different, and they wouldn't understand. I made them specifically so they'd feel emotions, and emotions are a powerful thing. In a way, it helped them move forward. It gave them a true sense of uniqueness and autonomy. And that's something that so many of the original Protogens never had upon their creation. But you could at least help now. June and I were really counting on you. Hell, we searched the whole galaxy for you. She snorted, shrugging slightly. Why not just forget it and fly somewhere far away? Start a new life. If your villain wanted to destroy you, he'd have done it already. Since you're not important to him, you could live your own life. I shook my head. No, we couldn't. It's not that simple, no matter what you think. Emotions. Yeah, and it's not about revenge. It's not about revenge for my planet. It's about hundreds of worlds that still have a chance to live. Hundreds of worlds that could still evolve into something beautiful. I can't just sit by, knowing we might be able to stop him. But you can't, otherwise he wouldn't be looking for me. I opened and closed my mouth. Damn. Okay, fine, you're right, we can't. But we won't give up, and if you won't help, then we'll find another way. Or we'll die trying, while you sit here knowing that one of your daughters might die for the sake of millions of other lives. For a few seconds, I took a deep breath. I looked at Zoe face to face and described the painful memory of mine that I believed to be relevant and crucial to the discussion. She tried to fight him, I'll be honest, but he threw her into a rock wall and left her to die, partially burned and bleeding. He even called her a useless side project of a traitor. She listened to me with a perfectly emotionless face. It seemed even the mention of her own daughter's possible death barely affected her. I was about to just give up, turn around and leave when suddenly Zoe smiled. You really do make an exceptional pair. What? Just an observation. Relax, Brizzy, I was planning to help you from the start. You think I'd let some egomaniac bastard hurt my child? I might be a bad mother, but I'm not heartless. At least not entirely. For a few moments I just stood there, stunned, speechless. She was going to help? Then what was that all about? I was completely lost now. Zoe just smiled wider, seeing the total confusion in my face. I wanted to see what interesting things Juno would say about me. She looked like she was about to explode, so I helped her let it all out. I sighed, shaking my head. You're a very strange woman. Thank you, I know. Now come on, we don't have much time from what you've told me. We headed back to Juno just in time. Juno was already coming to, sitting in the tree's shade, rubbing her head, still not entirely sure what was happening. Brizzy? Hey Juno, you okay? How do you feel? Fine, like I've slept for 10 days straight. She grunted, or Zoe grunted. You're welcome. She glared at her, clearly about to say something, probably to continue the tirade she'd started, but I managed to stop her in time. We talked a bit with Zoe, and she's agreed to help us. Surprise flickered across Juno's helmet. Really? How did you pull that off? I whipped out my cock. I'm kidding. I'll tell you later. Right now, let's go. We need to figure out our plan. And the three of us headed for the jet. At last, I felt hope again. Hope that we might actually succeed. Okay. Once aboard the ship, we gathered in the main compartment and tried to bring Zoe up to speed as quickly as possible. She listened carefully, occasionally asking questions, but it did not take long to explain. She knew more about Archive than anyone else. Far more than we did. Damn, your mom's hot. I mean, so what are we going to do? Zoe and Juno were silent, thinking. Finally, Zoe spoke. First, we need to lure him to a specific place. You said he appears whenever you deactivate the devices. That works in our favor. We'll go to the nearest planet, deactivate the devices, and ambush him. What if he sees us and escapes into a portal? What if he doesn't want to fight you? That's possible, which is why we'll have to fight to keep him from running. In other words, we'll distract him. And the point of all this? So your little monkey can connect remotely and destroy the devices. Zoe glanced at me. Wait, how am I supposed to destroy them? And why destroy them at all? Wouldn't it be easier to just lure him out and fight? No, it wouldn't. I have a theory about how those things work. I've seen similar tech many years ago. The anomaly devices are constantly supplying him with energy, and we need to destroy them so he can't use it. As long as he has the device, he basically has an infinite energy supply. The devices are little conduits, all linked together. The moment he starts using Archive, Brizzy will remotely trigger the destruction. It would cause a chain reaction. It would disrupt the chain of energy being supplied to him, and he would die, I think. I frowned. But they don't work. Exactly, they're not functional, but they're still linked to the rest. Otherwise, you can use them to track down new anomaly devices. Until they're destroyed, they'll maintain that connection. Well, except for this one. Zoe gestured to the broken device from wire, we'd shown her the whole collection as soon as we got on board. This one isn't connected to the rest, which is why there was an anomaly in it. Just like you guessed, Juno, a software error. Still, it's got some Archive energy from the ice planet left. Leave it for now, the crystals might come in handy. Okay, so let's say we destroy the devices, then what? Then his battery runs out and we'll have a real shot at beating him. Without his energy, he's probably nothing. Juno and I listened intently to Zoe. The plan seemed pretty solid to me. Alright, so we all fly to the planet with the devices, land there. No, you're not going anywhere for this plan. I fell silent, eyes wide. What? You'll be destroying the devices remotely, like I said. Which planet with anomalies closest? Juno pointed at the holographic map. Perfect. Star system OQ-2319K. It's a dwarf star with 2 planets in the habitable zone. One is infected, one isn't. You, Brizzy, will stay on the uninfected planet. As soon as we give the signal, you trigger the destruction of the anomaly device. But not before it shows up, otherwise you won't be able to open a portal. Wait, stop. I'm not letting you two go there alone. Are you kidding? I'm not going to sit there doing nothing while you risk your lives. What if he just kills you? Zoe shrugged, unconcerned. Then he does! And what exactly could you do to prevent that? Sorry for being blunt, but you'd only distract Juno, who would be focused on keeping you safe. I looked at Juno, hoping for backup, but she just sighed and nodded. Sorry, Brizzy, but my mom's right. You'd better stay on the other planet and control the device's destruction. You've got to be flipping kidding! Pixie could do it just fine! Juno, you can't be serious. This is our fight, our war. But Juno was not convinced. I'm sorry, but no. Pixie actually can't do it. If your villain realizes the destruction protocol started, he'll just head for your jet and smash it. Someone needs to oversee the process, and that someone is you. I was about to argue more, but Juno took my hand and squeezed it. Please, Brizzy, we need you to be safe. A storm was raging in my chest. I am the storm that is around. But at the same time, I understood. Juno was right. And damn it, so was my mother-in-law. Fine, alright, okay, but if something happens, if you need my help, you'll finish the job and destroy the anomaly devices. You mean? Exactly, if June and I don't come back, you have to finish it. Can we count on you? It was a punch to the gut. I stood there in helpless silence, realizing just how much responsibility now rested on my shoulders. Was I ready to sacrifice Juno for everyone else? For my own life? Of course not. And I couldn't live without her, I knew that. But we'd come too far, we had to finish this, no matter what. No matter how, just finish it. Yes. Yes, you can. Zoe nodded. Then set the course, I'll get some sleep. With that, as if nothing had happened, as if we hadn't just discussed our own and Juno's possible deaths. Deaths. She left for the guest cabin. Juno busied herself with tasks, but I stood frozen in place, staring at the holographic map of the solar system we were headed for. And right then, I hated all of it. I hated it more than ever, because tomorrow we'd reach Planet -1 tomorrow, I'd have to let her go. And what I feared most was exactly that. In my nightmares, that was always the outcome. She leaves and I stay behind. And what's the point of anything if I have to go on without her? The sheep, where's the sheep, Sleepy? The ram? The ship seemed to stand still around me, the cosmos outside the window growing blacker and blacker, cold and indifferent. Tomorrow would decide everything. Tomorrow would be the end, finally the end, but how hard it was to let her go, knowing she might never return. 50 years, yes or no. No other way. And I stood there wordless, catching glimpses of Juno at the helm, my fingers trembling. Tiny, almost imperceptible shakes. Tomorrow, 10 hours of flight, just 10 hours. My lungs tightened as if wrapped in steel wire. Waiting was agony, and we'd been heading for this moment for years. And for what? For a moment where with the 50-50 chance I could lose everything? Juno did not look at me, pretending to be totally absorbed in the route, which she'd already plugged into the panel. And I knew why. If our eyes met right now, with that thought, that fear hanging between us, she would not be able to leave. And she had to. No one else could do this but her and Zoe. I reached out and grabbed her wrist. Her skin was cold under my fingers and I felt her shiver. My lips moved, but the words got stuck in my throat, turning into a sharp knot I could not swallow. She looked up. We stared at each other for an eternity at least. Promise me you'll come back. My voice was quiet, barely audible over the hum of the ship. Juno looked down. Brizzy. She could not promise, she could not say yes, she could not agree what she could not control. And still I asked again. Promise me you'll come back, Juno. Please. On the last word, my voice trembled. I promise. My God, this is it, boys. The flight passed in silence, complete silence. We did not talk anymore, did not say goodbye, did not try to convince each other. First, it was pointless, and second, impossible. The choice was already made, and now we just had to follow it through to the end. Everything was on the line. Literally everything. As we approached the solar system, Juno and Zoe took the jet while I directed the ship toward a nearby planet to land. We didn't say goodbye, we just couldn't. I wouldn't have been able to. All I had left was the radio, her voice on the other end. How are you? We're here. We see the devices. We'll start extracting them in 3 minutes. When I give the word, you start the destruction sequence. Ready? Boop, 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 blip, blip. I glanced back at the lab. All the devices were already there, wired to the explosives. Only 3 crystals, the ones we took from wire, weren't connected. Juno and Zoe took 2 with them, leaving 1 for me. I didn't know why, and neither did Juno, but Zoe said they might come in handy. Ready. My word hung in the air like a stone dropped in a bottomless well. 10, 9, 8. Zoe's voice echoed in my ears, cutting through my frantic heartbeat. 3, 2, 1. Extracting. My heart leapt into my throat. My hand hovered over the button, ready to destroy the damn devices at any moment. But it wouldn't happen instantly, of course. Destroying such complex devices would take time. And all that, Zoe and Juno would have to fend off the bastard who started it all. Brizzy, he's here! Start it! And the signal cut out. Not with a hiss, not with a dying whine of interference, just gone, as if someone tore a page from a book. I slammed the fucking button, holding it down just in case, and behind me came a hiss, turning. I saw the anomaly devices glowing. Oh! I slammed the button, holding it down just in case, and behind me came a hiss, turning. I saw the anomaly devices glowing, filling the whole ship with violet light. Juno, how are you, Juno? Juno? But only silence answered. I clenched my fist, staring at the screen at the loading bar. 5%. Oh my days, it's over. 95 to go until the devices were gone. My blood was boiling, my body ached to fight. Right there, so close but so damn far. They were fighting for their lives. And I stood here, heart ready to shatter at any moment. Minutes dragged on for millions of years as I listened to the silence on the comms, watched the slow crawl of the loading bar. Brizzy, anomalous activity detected. Pixie's voice pulled me out of the abyss of thoughts and anxiety. What? He's here? Someone is on the ship, please come back into it. Shit! I tried to reach Juno, but static swallowed the signal, whatever. Are you okay? Is he there? I didn't get any reply. Suddenly the air shuddered. Space before me ripped open with a crack of breaking bones, spitting icy wind that reeked of burnt flesh, a foul clinging stench. Out of the violet rift, something crawled. I couldn't even tell what at first. It did not look like the bastard I'd seen before. No, this was shifting. Violet clouds of smoke gathering into multiple forms. They pulsed with energy, their outlines always shifting like shadows underwater. Their bodies shimmered in all shades of violet, trailing smoky ribbons as they moved towards me. Holy shit. I grabbed the rifle I'd wisely set beside the control panel and fired. The first shot passed through the nearest monster like smoke, leaving only a temporary ripple in its foggy flesh. The creature froze for a moment, then its head, or whatever it had instead, stretched towards me and I saw it launch straight at me. Pixie, what are these things? They're not in my database. I dodged aside as a second creature lashed out with a glowing venomous violent tentacle. The blow landed where it stood a second earlier, leaving a crack in the metal floor rimmed with frost. My shoulder seared with icy pain. Just being close to the attack left a burning frostbite mark on my skin. Brizzy, they must not destroy the detonator controls. Got it. I grabbed the rifle, spraying wild shots to drive them away from the control panel. Bullets torn to the shapeless mass, making their forms quiver and pulse. But when the clip was empty, the whole legion fused back together. They grew denser, darker, as if feeding off the heat and force of my shots. Brizzy! Juno's voice cut through the static and they dodged another attack. Juno, they're trying to stop the device from being destroyed. I know they're everywhere. I don't know how much longer we can. Her voice was swallowed by a roar of static. At that moment, another creature lunged, slipping behind me. I felt icy fingers close around my wrists. My entire arm went numb like it had been shot full of anesthetic. What a wild scream. I twisted, elbowing the monster where its belly should be. My arm just passed through freezing emptiness, blue veins of frost creeping along my skin. I fought back with everything I had, all the blows I'd practiced in 100 fights, but my fist only sliced cold fog. In response, the shadows circled me, moving in sync like predators closing in. Like Diddy, I jumped back trying to escape the bone-chilling cold. The loading bar flashed on the screens 80%, 81. I guarded the computer as best as I could, but the monsters charged. Rolling to the wall, I grabbed whatever I could, a broken anomaly device from wire with a single crystal still attached. With no other option, since the rifle did nothing, I roared and plunged the device crystal first into the monster about to engulf me in frost. My breath steamed, and suddenly the shadows shrieked, a sound blasting my ears, and with a pop, the violet smoke vanished. What the? I think because it technically was a different thing, it was an ice element, and it was kind of separated with the other devices. That kind of actually hurt it, right? I had no time to process what happened. It's like two opposing energies, kind of similar in origin, but different in nature. I grabbed the anomaly device tighter, swinging it at the shadows, scattering them with pops and shrieks. Brizzy, 90%. It's the crystals! I rushed to the control panel as the last shadow vanished and tried to contact Juno. Juno, do you hear me? It's the crystals! The Y crystals, they hold arcane energy. These monsters are connected to the devices, but this one wasn't. It's not linked. Juno, do you hear me? But there was no answer, just static. I had no other choice. Even if I did, I would have chosen differently. Pixie, I'm flying to Planet -1 to Juno and Zoe. Brizzy, it's dangerous and risky. You must wait until... I can't wait. Take me there now, or I'll fly myself. I'm flying. Pixie paused for a few seconds. The loading bar crawled on. Pixie, they'll die if I don't help. Take me there. The next moment, the ship lurched, breaking orbit in a rush. Approaching, I saw violet flashes below. The battle was on, and I wasn't going to stand by any longer. Whatever happens, don't stop the loading. Understood? Understood, Brizzy. Good luck. God's... Was it the goddess mother? God's speed. The airlock opened and I leaped down 2 meters to the rocky ground, clutching the device so tightly my knuckles turned white. Ahead, everything flickered violet. Monsters swarmed, trapping Zoe and Juno in the center. Juno! My voice rang out over the chaos of battle. I fought my way toward them, shadows lunging, tentacles flashing. I battled forward. Juno! Finally I saw her, a few meters ahead. Brizzy, what are you... Her eyes widened, but she did not have time to yell at me. I smashed a monster with the device and it dissolved with an inhuman shriek. It's the Y crystals. Use the crystals! Juno and Zoe exchanged glances. Knew my hunch was right. Oh yeah! They grabbed the crystals, clutching them tight, and rushed into close combat. One after another, every violet shadow touched by a crystal popped and vanished. Gradually, the battlefield began to clear. I turned, gasping, and saw him, the hooded one. Standing on a boulder, his helmet reflecting rage and disappointment. Cause he's gonna die. He's playing fail. It's my fucking fail, man. Ha ha ha. Freaking stupid bastard, you. We did it. Yes, sir. Beside him, a portal started forming. No. He was going to run. He realized we'd figured out the shadows and he was about to escape. Brizzy, 99%. I screamed at the top of my lungs and running hurled the device at the bastard. It struck his head, making him turn. Coward! Where do you think you're going? Fight me! And that was what I wanted. Just a second's hesitation, a split second. Done. Pix's voice sounded in my ear just as the deactivated devices in the battlefield flared violet and exploded, the crystal shattering. The portal vanished. Shock crossed his face. You pathetic little... Juno and Zoe ran up to me. As soon as the device exploded, all the shadows vanished. I did not have time to say anything. Didn't have time to ask if they were okay. You got a mad mouth, like it's mad. Just then the Protogen in front of us screamed so loud it stunned us, and in the next instant I saw the energy. The energy that should have dispersed with the devices, it all flooded directly into him, like water soaking into a sponge. Sorry. Everything froze, silence so loud it hurt, then the air trembled with a low bone-shaking hum, as if reality itself groaned under the pressure. He stood unmoving, his fingers curling to fists. Thin bolts of violet lightning flickered under his skin as if his flesh could not hold back what boiled inside. You! How dare you! His voice hit like a shockwave, splitting into dozens of echoes, each word sparking with energy. His eyes, usually cold and calculating, now blazed like overheated electrodes. What the? The next moment his body exploded with light. At first just a faint glow, like neon flickering beneath his skin. Then sudden violent bursts, scorching his clothes and armor with black charred marks. He shuddered, his neck arched, and a surge of pure energy burst from him, blasting the rock beneath his feet to rubble. He convulsed, standing in place, looking like he was about to explode. Run! Get out! He absorbed all the device's energy! How? It should have dissipated. He was directly connected to the devices. Everything in the vessels poured into him. Run! He can't hold in it for long. You have time. Space warped around him. I saw his body spasming, his fingers twisted and arms contorted, unable to hold the archive inside. And we ran. We ran as fast as we could. To the jet! No, we can't. If he shoots, we're dead. And what do we do? Run. He can't hold the archive for long. We have to wear him out. Rocks crunched underfoot, my heart pounding like a drum. The world turned to a cauldron of energy. Rocks behind us melting under violet lightning, leaving reeking fumes. We raced through the chaos. The chase close behind, every step a struggle as if the air had thickened to syrup. I was at the back, shoulders tense, head empty. I did not look back, but I could feel the bastard breathing down my neck. He took everything from me! I heard the rising roar behind me, like a jet engine mixed with the tearing of reality. I did not look, but I knew he was closing in, his form flickering between matter and energy. leaving a trail of sparks and violent fog. A blast of pure energy. I dodged just in time, seeing everything turn to ash where it hit. I spent years to bring her back, my only one. I spent years and you destroyed it all. Zoe glanced back several times, trying to cover a retreat, her blast of energy slicing the air. But absolute power could not be stopped. Looks like someone died, and he wanted to bring her back. Suddenly, we reached the entrance to the stone tunnel. But it was a dead end. No. There was no way around, only cliffs. Quick, run! But it was faster. I'll destroy you, I'll make you watch her die! I leaped forward. In that moment, another blast hit the stone cliff before me, blocking a way with falling stone rubble. I won't kill you first, I'll make you watch. God damn, that Juno is like thick, like really thick. I also like her. I also like her mom, kind of petite. Juno and Zoe, since we had nowhere to go, attacked them directly. The fight was on. I tried to help Juno and Zoe by firing my rifle, but they moved too fast and I could not hurt him. Soon Zoe was spent. Her energy gone, she was barely standing, and he grabbed her by the throat, lifting her off the ground. You'll be the first. Oh, Juno, grabbing her sword again, charged at him with a shout. I tried to help, but his power flung me aside, slamming me into the wall, and I felt like I was being torn into a million pieces. I fell into darkness. Hollow sounds, everything outside faded, vanished. There was only darkness, only peace. Was this death? Probably. I'd felt it before. It was so calm, so quiet. Brizzy? I flinched, opened my eyes into darkness but saw nothing. Brizzy, you can't give up. What? Mom? Was her voice, her real voice. I'd know it anywhere. Not the parody, not the memory dredged from my head. Mom, I can't. You have to hold on. You have to finish what you started, sweetheart. You've come so far. Are you really going to give up now? I wanted to cry but couldn't. I couldn't because right now I did not exist. I was just a thought in the dark. Please, son? I flinched. Another voice. Dad? Mom? You have to fight. Fight for her! I'm so tired. All I ever wanted for it was to find real love, son. And you'll lose it if you give up. Remember everything you two went through. Remember how much you wanted to be with her. None of it will happen if you give up, sweetheart. Please get up. Get up, son. It's not your time yet. Not at all. Juno. Her name sparked in my mind, vibrating in the darkness. The voices merged. There was Damon, the kid who taught me the Elder's ways, the Elder themselves, Lance, and all those left frozen on this planet forever. The voices mixed and intertwined, but I felt their energy. I felt their call in my very soul. Better Call Saul. I won't give up. I won't. The darkness suddenly broke. I was pulled back into my body, broken, aching from the blow. No, that's my fucking wife you're holding. I forced my eyes open and saw a sight that stopped my heart. Zoe lay on the floor, drained, unconscious. He stood nearby, no longer glowing, only the last flickers of energy flashing at his fingertips like lightning. He could barely stand, his knees trembling, but he held Juno by the neck. His voice was now quiet, hoarse, and exhausted. I'll let him say goodbye. To your body. Slowly I got to my feet, forced myself up. Juno's sword I lay nearby, pushing past the pain, grabbed the gravity, pulling me back into the dark. I staggered up, grabbed the sword, and in 2 quick steps, giving it everything I had. Oh. Wait, they don't even breathe. It's like, oh, it's like a glitch. I drove the blade straight into his back. It didn't make a sound, and I pulled yeah, I knew it. There was no sound, no breathing or anything. Most likely got like a buzzing, glitchy sound. Or maybe nothing? You just got a shock face? It didn't make a... I pulled and pushed the blade inside him before falling down to my knees to try and hold out against the pain and fatigue in my battered body. He jerked, his grip loosened, dropping the wounded Juno. He collapsed, but immediately tried to get up one last time. However, he could only roll onto his back. His helmet glitched, energy fading away. I stood over him, watching the last seconds of his life. You. Me. Yeah, me. I could barely stay standing, but I would not let myself fall. Not yet. Bring her back. Bring her. Promise me. I don't make promises I can't keep. Every word came as hard for me as it did for him. His helmet flickered and showed something like a smile. I didn't know what his story was, and I didn't want to know if it or try to understand it. This whole thing, I imagined it differently. I imagined I'd do it in a fair fight. That would be a special moment, not like this. Are you disappointed? I don't know, but I'm glad you'll finally die. Maybe one day you'll understand. Just like I understood you. His helmet glitched and went dark. He lost someone. Maybe even an entire planet. And he decided to bring everybody back, especially her. And that's my assumption. He went limp, breathing his last. Fuck you, die in hell. Rest in peace. I managed one step forward past him to Juno, then my body just shut down and I slipped into emptiness. Oh, we're back in the ship. The ship was quiet. A familiar hum broke the silence, lulling me as I stood by the training bay, watching Juno watching her train with her virtual reality goggles on. She hadn't noticed me yet. I'd only woken up half an hour ago and immediately went looking for her. It had been 2 months since we dealt with him. All this time I'd been recovering, and though I felt better now, I still had to walk along the walls, holding on with my hands so I would not fall. Pixie was constantly monitoring my condition, reporting every tiny change to Juno, and all I could do was hiss at him from time to time because he was such a little snitch. And no snitches get stitches. Problem, this was a ship, so we tried to do stitches with the snitch. Vacuum of space. Juno was very worried. After the battle on planet 1, I spent nearly 2 weeks in oblivion. When I woke up, she was there, and I didn't even need to know whether we succeeded or not. I didn't need to know anything. Zoe survived, as did all of us. When I woke up, she had already left, returned to her usual life, but promised she would keep in touch with Juno. And not just with her, but with all her children, with everyone who wanted it. Juno and I decided to stay for a while in orbit around planet -1, wait until I could recover enough so we could figure out where to go next. Hey, why didn't you say you were awake? Juno, coming out of the simulation, immediately came up to me and kissed me on the lips as a greeting. I didn't want to interrupt. Welcome back, everyone. Quick cut. I did not want to interrupt. And besides, you look cute. At my words, Juno laughed. Don't worry, you'll be as good as new soon, but practice a couple of new moves. I can't wait. Have you had breakfast, by the way? I shook my head. Let's go. We headed to the galley and Juno made me breakfast, ignoring my grumbling that I could handle it myself. After eating, I'm hitting the mic, by the way. We went to the main bay to enjoy the view of the planet. It had become our little tradition to sit like this at the huge observation windows and watch the peacefully glowing sphere below. How did you sleep? Great, and I have some good news. I raised an eyebrow. Lance contacted me today. He said he's completed his training and tomorrow he'll join the Protogen Inc. security team. Seriously? Damn, that's great. Yeah, I don't want to sound too optimistic, but I think he really likes it at Protogen Inc. And he's mentioned a certain mentor an awful lot. Someone's been helping him with everything. Juno smiled at me knowing, and I laughed, trying not to strain my still mending ribs. I was kind of hoping for that, honestly. You hope and did not tell me, but I didn't want to jinx it. But the way he looked at that mentor the time we brought him to Protogen Inc., let's just say it gave me hope. I think we'll have to visit land soon, and take a break from the ship while we're at it. I nodded with a smile and we fell silent again, watching the planet in front of us. It really was great news, but at the same time, I realized that there was nothing in this world I needed. Nothing but judo. Did I say judo or Juno? All the years we spent together, every minute with her by my side, I could not have asked for more. I loved her more than life itself, and even 2 months after the last battle, I sometimes thought about the time I let her go on that mission. About how afraid I was that I'd never see her again. More than anything, I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her, and it did not matter how long or short that would be. Juno. Huh? She turned and I looked into her eyes for a long time. It was now or never. The moment I thought about for years, the moment I wanted most since everything happened. No one in the world mattered to me more than her. What? Does something hurt? I smiled and shook my head. Remember when you said the universe was too big to travel alone? Her eyebrows lifted slightly. I vaguely recall something like that, yeah? I dropped to one knee, ignored the pain in my barely healed wounds, and reached out to her, palm up as was tradition on my planet once. Before these stars as witnesses and before the face of the Mother of Heaven and lit, I solemnly ask of you to be my wife. Damn, son, he proposed! He proposed! Juno froze. Her fingers touched my palm, a light, almost weightless touch. You? Her voice trembled. I know your people don't have marriage traditions, but mine did. Yes! Yes, Brizzy. I took her hand in mine and laid it on my palm. I love you. No matter how much time I have left, no matter what happens next, I don't need the universe if you're not in it. The Rizzler. Juno did not say anything. She just pulled me to her. She just pulled me to her so tightly that I could feel her heart beating fast, just like the day we first hugged. When we first kissed, when we first found each other. When we let go, her helmet was literally sparkling with emotion, flickering wildly, unable to settle on one expression. Now time for a honeymoon. Honey, what? I laughed. I heard about it on some planet. A honeymoon. It's when newlyweds go together. I couldn't help myself. I pulled her to me, pressing my lips to hers in a desperate, sincere kiss. It had been a long journey. Sometimes it felt endless. How many worlds did we see? How many did we save? And how many remained just a fleeting moment in the endless cosmos? How much did we sacrifice just to do what we thought was right? I'll never forget those worlds. I'll never forget our missions. I'll never forget my mom and dad, my village, my planet. This story stretched on for years, filled with highs and lows, tears and joy, despair and hope. Sometimes at night I still woke up in a Sometimes at night I still woke up in a sweat, dreaming of Juno leaving for her final mission, the ship empty without her presence. I dream of silence on the comms and then a voice breaking through the static. Maybe this nightmare will never leave me, but as long as I wake up next to her, I can live with it. I lost everything, and then I found an entire world. An entire universe in the face of one alien who once happened to find me in the forest. It doesn't matter what happens next. None of it matters, as long as she's by my side. And now standing here beside her, kissing her, calling her my wife, I knew this was the life I wanted. Only this, only with her. The ship gently vibrated in the darkness of space. The planets would save one last world alive thanks to us, shining in the viewport. Ahead were new worlds, new stars, new meetings. And perhaps this journey was not perfect. I could have handled many things much better, but I was still happy with how it turned out. Because it was what I truly wanted and truly needed. The most important thing was that I had her. Everything else did not matter. A game by Dirty Fox Games. Alright guys, see ya in another video.